The Galactic Council's panic as humans cut off all diplomacy. The emergency session of the Galactic Council convened in chaos. Ambassador Zelthor of the Vraxian Confederacy slammed his crystalline appendage against the podium, the sound reverberating through the vast chamber like a death knell. "They have gone silent," he announced, his voice trembling with barely contained panic. "For the first time in 73 cycles, humanity has severed all diplomatic channels." A collective gasp rippled through the assembled delegates. 500 species representing 10,000 worlds sat in stunned silence. The humans, those unpredictable, emotional, impossibly resilient creatures, had simply stopped talking. Counselor Mathara, a being of pure energy contained within a containment field, flickered nervously. "This must be a technical malfunction. Humans are compulsive communicators. They cannot help but talk, argue, and debate. It is their nature." "No malfunction," Zelthor replied grimly. "Every embassy has been evacuated. Every communication array disabled. Every human diplomat has returned to Earth or her colonies. They left behind only one message. Humanity withdraws from galactic affairs. Do not follow." The chamber erupted into pandemonium. Deep in the human colony of New Terra, Hunter stood before the massive viewport of the orbital defense station, watching the stars with arms crossed. His jaw was set in a hard line, his gray eyes reflecting the cold light of distant suns. "Sir," a young ensign approached cautiously, "the Vraxians are requesting permission to approach the system." "They're begging, actually." "Denied," Hunter said flatly. "All requests are denied." "Those are our orders." The ensign hesitated. "They're saying the council wants to negotiate. They're offering reparations for the Kepler incident." Hunter's expression darkened. The Kepler incident, when the council had voted 437 to 63 to deny humanity aid during the plague that ravaged their outer colonies, when political posturing and bureaucratic red tape had cost 3 million human lives, when humanity had begged, literally begged, for medical supplies the council had in abundance, only to be told that proper procedures must be followed. "Tell them," Hunter said coldly, "that proper procedures must be followed. And the procedure for contacting humanity is now. Don't." On Earth, in the abandoned halls of the Human Diplomatic Corps headquarters, Ava sat alone in her former office. Her fingers drummed against the antique wooden desk her grandfather had carved, a reminder that humanity had survived worse than indifferent bureaucrats. Playing God with people's lives. Her communicator buzzed. She ignored it. It buzzed again. And again, finally she activated it. The holographic projection of Ambassador Zelthor materialized before her, his usual composure shattered. "Ava, please, you must listen. The council has reconvened. We are willing to discuss." "Discuss what?" Ava interrupted, her voice like ice. "How you let our people die. How you debated and deliberated while children gasped their last breaths. How you prioritized your protocols over our survival. It was a mistake. We acknowledge. You acknowledge nothing." Ava stood, her petite frame somehow commanding despite the hologram towering over her. "For 73 cycles, humanity has participated in your council. We've shared our technology, our culture, our resources. We've fought in your wars, mediated your disputes, contributed to your civilization, and when we needed you most, you abandoned us." Zelthor's crystalline structure dimmed. "What do you want? Reparations? Apologies? We don't want anything from you anymore," Ava said quietly. "That's what you don't understand. We're done asking. We're done begging. We're done pretending that the Galactic Council is anything more than a social club for species who've forgotten what it means to struggle." She terminated the connection. 3 cycles later, the council chamber was in full crisis mode. Reports flooded in from across the galaxy. Human trade vessels had ceased all routes through council space. Human technology licenses had been revoked. Human colony worlds had activated defense grids that made approaching them suicidal. But worse, far worse, other species were taking notice. The Threnodi, who had been denied aid during their own crisis 2 centuries prior, began withdrawing their fleets. The Alcor Collective, long resentful of council tariffs, suspended their resource shipments. The Makan tribes, inspired by human defiance, declared independence from council oversight. The galaxy's most powerful institution was unraveling. "This is catastrophic," Councillor Vren roared. "The humans must be brought back. Force them if necessary. A cold laugh echoed through the chamber. It came from the Kython delegate, a species that had fought a brutal war against humanity decades ago. Force them? The Kython said, mandibles clicking in amusement. You truly don't understand what you're dealing with. We learned the hard way. Humanity doesn't lose wars. They lose battles, certainly. But wars never. Do you know why? Silence. Because humans invented the concept of spite as a survival strategy. They will suffer unimaginable hardships just to prove you wrong. They will endure centuries of isolation to make a point, and they will smile while doing it. On New Terra, Hunter received the encrypted message from Earth Command. He read it once, then smiled, a cold, satisfied expression. Sir? The ensign asked nervously. 12 species have formally withdrawn from the Council, Hunter reported. 43 more are threatening to do so. The Council's economic projections show complete collapse within a decade if trends continue. So, we won? Hunter shook his head. We didn't need to win. We just needed to stop playing their game. Ava stood in the rebuilt memorial park on Kepler Colony, where 3 million names were etched in black stone. The grass was green again, the air clean. Humanity had saved itself as it always had. Her communicator buzzed. Another message from the Council. Another desperate plea. She deleted it without reading. Behind her, children played. The generation that would never know the Council's influence, that would grow up in a humanity that relied on itself alone. They would be harder, perhaps. More cynical, but they would never beg. Ava touched the stone monument, feeling the engraved letters beneath her fingers. We remember, she whispered. And we don't forgive. Across the galaxy, the Galactic Council scrambled for solutions, trying to understand how humanity, just one species among hundreds, had brought their entire civilization to the brink. They never would understand. Because they had never learned the fundamental truth that humanity knew in its bones. Survival isn't about being the strongest or the smartest. It's about being willing to walk away from a table where you're not respected. And humanity had left the building,